button.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone, it's Plastic EP here, and you're in for a treat. Today we're going to be doing A Hard Day's Night, Side 2 with the one and only Jude Southerland Kessler. How are you today, Jude?
I am groovy and ready to rock and roll.
That's what I want to hear. And I've got to tell you, A Hard Day's Night, I love it. It was released in 1964 in July, and I would have been about, I think, 7 years old. It was my birthday, and the song was released, I think, of the 10th of July, and I'm born on the 9th of July. So that's fantastic. But what I want to show you is something very, very special. Now, I want you to tell me who's in this photo. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Right, have a look, and you'll be able to see it. Tell me who those two people are.
Well, I see Paul for sure. I can't tell who the other person is.
Well, you should know.
Is it John?
No, that's Linda.
Oh, it's Linda. I can't see that at all. Now, where is that? Boy, she is really well made up. Where were they going?
This is in New Orleans in 1975, and I want to tell you, it was sent to me by the photographer Sidney Smith, spelt S-I-D-N-E-Y. That's his first name, Sidney Smith. And if anybody wants to buy any of his fantastic rock photography, go to Sidney Smith at cox.net. But remember, Sydney is spelled S-I-D-N-E-Y. How great is that to put in
That's phenomenal. You know, that's that trip that John was supposed to meet Paul in New Orleans. He was primed to go down there, and I think the world would have changed if he had gone. But right before he was going to take off, Yoko had a numerologist do readings for him and tell him that his numbers were not good to go, so he didn't go down there. But that was going to be the big get back together thing. So,
I didn't know that John was going to go down there. So that's really a great piece of news. Now, let me tell you, while you're in lockdown, I've got to tell you something. You'll love this. You know how much great stuff you can buy on eBay if you know what you're buying, right? For example, I've had ample time to buy a few things. So what I did is, I have a room upstairs, a recording studio, but next to that, I have a room where I have collectibles. And I can tell you, every CD I got is brand new, never played. So what happens is I picked up these 4 CDs, 4 of them, right?
Those are awesome.
But I picked them up for $40 Australian. So I got them for next to nothing, and they're selling for $25 each in Australia. So you can tell that was a great buy just for listening to it at home or in the car. And also, of course, I got to make a second set. I picked that up as well from another site. And you know what? I got to tell you, in these times that we're going through, turn off the TV, put on a Beatles album, watch A Hard Day's Night, watch Help, watch Elvis movies, watch documentaries, watch whatever you want, just to be able to switch off. Do you totally agree? That's what I do.
Yep. I do the same thing because no one can take the politics anymore. We don't want to hear it.
I picked up the original 1964 book.
That's cool. That's so cool.
And also, Australian sheet music for Rubber Soul. You've never seen it because it's Australian. It's got every song, and it was 75 cents. I wanted to show you, and of course, with the sheet music, you get photos. I guarantee you haven't seen these photos. There's Ringo on guitar coming out of a plane.
Oh, that is the Geppetto photos. Where is that book? The guy that took pictures of them in Rome, it looks like. Those candid shots.
Wow. There are other shots there, other photos.
That's very cool. Very cool. Love those. How much did you have to pay for that?
Oh, well, you have to shop around different prices, but you've got to be lucky because it's Australian. So, I just buy what I like because, I'm going to tell you, Jude. Chachi LaPret and I do a show called Plastic EP Live. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
And the last episode we did, I don't know if you know this, we spoke about the 1972 Wings bus that's been restored, the original Wings bus.
Right.
That writes on the bus, Wings over Europe. Tom Jennings is restoring that bus.
Wow.
Did you know about that?
I did not know about that.
Yep, he's restoring, and hopefully this year that'll be completed. And he put it in a magazine in the UK with distribution of 250,000 people. That article went out about the restoration of the bus.
Yeah,
How
that's
great
awesome.
is that? That you find the bus, you buy Paul's bus from
Yeah.
the Wings tours. And did
That's
you know he
really
leased the bus? He actually leased the bus. He didn't buy
Wow.
the bus, 1972 bus.
He leased it. I love that. That was a good idea. Talk about a smart business move.
Of course, because if the bus breaks down, it's their problem, not yours.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go on the net, you're going to see pictures of Paul with Wings on top of it's an open deck, double decker bus. Open.
Yeah.
It's open.
Yeah.
So they're playing songs, and also you see Paul and Linda sitting on the steps of the bus. And I don't know for sure, right? But it's rumored, I can't verify this, that he wrote Live and Let Die on the bus. All right? I don't know, but that's a rumor.
Yeah,
So
if the
now-
person who buys the bus can prove that, they've really got something. I mean, that's super cool.
Yeah, but he may have written a few songs, because you know that,
Yeah.
you know, in his, what is it, Austin Martin, DB, whatever it is, he
Right.
actually wrote the song Hey Jude in the car with the guitar.
Yeah, he also wrote Yesterday, the lyrics to Yesterday, but that was in a hired car when he was on the holiday in Spain. Paul was famous. John wrote a lot of his songs in bed, and Paul wrote a lot of his songs when he was driving the car. So
I just want to say, Jude, with Yesterday, and you're the expert, right? But I'm trying to say, with Yesterday, he was at Paul Asher's house, woke up, and it came to him the song upstairs in his bedroom, right? And then downstairs in the basement, in the basement, he wrote, I want to hold your hand with John. I mean, how amazing is that? Walpole Street in London. That's correct?
Yes, so he woke up with the music in his head, but no lyrics, and went around for almost a year and a half trying to ascertain whether he had stolen the song from someone, because he didn't trust himself to have really heard that in a dream. And people were getting sick of him asking, have you ever heard this song? Have you ever heard this song? Like,
No, that's true.
No, shut up. We haven't heard it. And he finally, on his holiday.
Actually, that makes sense. That makes sense, because the running title with the song was Scrambled Eggs. That was the song.
How I Love Your Legs. That's what he said.
Listen, I've got to ask you, Jude, now. Tell me about your fantastic books now, and where we are with the books, and what's for sale now.
Thank you so much. It's the John Lennon series, and it's an unusual series of books because they're written as if you're reading a novel, but everything is footnoted and documented so that you get not only the story of what's happening, but in the back of the book, there are thousands of footnotes showing you that everything that's said is not fictional, it's all factual and documented. So I write a sentence, I document it. I write another sentence, I document it. It's very, very slow process. But there are 4 of the books are out. The very first one is Should Have Been There, which is John's childhood and teen years up to the day that Brian Epstein offers him that loose managerial agreement and they leave Liverpool behind and step onto the world stage. And volume 2 is called Shivering Inside, and it's 1961-63, when the Beatles are huge in England and in Hamburg and all over the UK, but they have not yet made it big worldwide. And then She Loves You is that magical year of 1964, early part of 1964, and all of 1963, when Beatlemania breaks out. They play the Royal Command performance for royalty. They're on Sunday night at the London Palladium. They move to London. It's a big, big year. And then they play Ed Sullivan. And after they come to America, that ends. And the newest book, which is Should Have Known Better, is from the Ed Sullivan Show all the way through 1964, the definitive year of Beatlemania. They make their films. John has his first book. They're on tour. They do the North American tour. They do a UK tour. They make Beatles for Sale, as well as the soundtrack for Hard Day's Night. And it is about 1,000 pages, and there's everything is documented and factual. So you're reading it like you're there and you're a part of it, but it is all exactly as it happened, what they ate, what they wore, what they said, what they did as it happened. So I'm on book 5 right now, going a little slowly. But in COVID, we all do jobs in COVID that we never did before. So I'm assuming a lot of roles that I haven't done before, but we're going to get there. I'm going to get it finished soon.
Jude, I got to say something, right? I love you and the world loves you. No one writes in-depth books such as you. And I got to say this, it's a credit to you. And I seriously take my hat off to you. I respect the work that you do on the Beatles, the books, the in-depth things that you actually do. But I got to ask you, the way things are going, you're going to go to volume 9. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I got to say something. It took you 35 years to do up to 4. Is that right?
Well, it did. You were so funny because that is exactly what my nephew said. He said,
don't get upset because I love you, right? But what? Do you plan to do volume 9 when you're 120? I'm just asking.
I have 18 more years. I've it all storyboarded, and this is why I get upset, because I have to hit my marks in order to make it. And I have it storyboarded for 18 more years of work. I did most of my research with volume 1. It took me 20 years to do volume 1 because I had to go to Liverpool, do interviews, do all the research. So now it's a matter of taking it and putting it into the book. So I have 3.5 years slated for each book's writing and research along the way. And if I stay on task, I'll be finished in 18 years. Both my parents lived well into their late 90s. So, and they were in great health, no dementia, none of that. So I run every single day and work out every day so that I can stay fit and finish the job.
I know, but you got to understand something, Jude. I love you that much that you got to understand when I heard that you did 35 years, and I'm not going to ask you your age, okay? But then I'm figuring another 35 years on top, plus another one to make 9. I'm just wondering where you'll get there.
No, I will have it all finished in 18 years, and is probably driving my family slap nuts because I keep saying, I've got to stay on task. I've got to stay on task. But if I don't, I won't get it completed.
Anyway, but let me say, it's a credit to you. And I love the way you got like a 18-year plan. Now, listen, let's get straight into the show. We're going to do A Hard Day's Night, side 2. And of course, we're going to start off with Anytime at All, aren't we? Yes. And I want to say, that's one of my favorite songs. I just love the start of it. Anytime at all, do, 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 do. Anytime at all, anytime at all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. I love it. All right, let's hear the latest on that.
I love it too. I looked up, I thought it might be fun to see where all of the songs on side 2 rank on the greatest songs of the Beatles. And Anytime at All came out at 145. So it's not esteemed as like a great song that's way down the list, but it is a song that John wrote. He didn't write a lot of these, but he wrote it for his wife, Cynthia. And it's a love song to her. In 1964, they were separated all the time. First, he makes the movie, and after making A Hard Day's Night each night, he goes and does radio shows and TV interviews. And then, you and I have talked about this before, he's working on a book. And so at 10 o'clock every night, the editor from Jonathan Cate Publishers meets him at his house, and they work until midnight on the book. So he doesn't see Cynthia much at all. Then he goes away on the world tour. He goes on the North American tour and is gone for a month and a half. He's only home 5 days, and he's in studio making Beatles for Sale. And then he leaves on the UK tour. So these two rarely see each other. And that's what the song is about. He's telling her, even though we're not together, anytime at all you have to do is call and I'll be there. The song is written in what Tim Riley calls a major minor nexus. And what that means is the verses are in a minor key, and then the bridge is, the verses are in a major key, and then the bridge is in a minor key, and you can hear that. And I Should Have Known Better does the exact same thing. I'm Happy Just to Dance with You, exact same thing. And I'll Cry Instead, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Now, Paul takes that technique and he reverses it. So when you listen to Paul's songs, you're going to hear that the bridge is major and the verses are minor. And that is what John does in this song. He adopts Paul's method. So you start off with this minor verse, and it sounds a little bit longing and sad and wistful, like he's lonely for Cynthia. If you need somebody to love, just look into my eyes. I'll be there to make you feel right. And he goes on and he sings all of these words about how he knows that she's missing him, he's missing her, but he hopes that she's not starting to fall out of love with him. You know, if you're feeling sorry and sad, I really sympathize. Don't be sad. Just call me. Just call me tonight. So you can see he's really, really worried about this. But then he breaks into the major chorus in which he just says, anytime at all, all you got to do is call and I'll be there. He's very hopeful that they can stay together. Then he goes back into the verse again, and he goes back into that minor key. You can hear his doubts. You know, you got to remember you're dealing with this little boy who was abandoned by his mother, so he never thinks that love is permanent. He never thinks it's going to work out. He always thinks the girl's going to leave him. So he says, you know, if the sun is faded away, I'll try to make it shine. He's always trying to make it right. You know, there's nothing I wouldn't do. If you need a shoulder to cry on, and listen to this, I hope it will be mine. In other words, she's his wife. He's not even sure that she's going to cry on the shoulder. He's so insecure. Call me and I'll come to you. So this is a man scrambling. It's typical John Lennon, trying to make sure that he keeps the girl's love. Now, the music of this song is kind of a symbol for what's going on in their relationship. You have a piano playing, you have the guitar playing. They're working independently. And the guitar starts high and it ends low. The piano starts low and it ends high. So they crisscross each other like ships passing in the night, just like John and Sin are doing. But both of them do a beautiful job. And when you put them together, it works perfectly. And that's what this song is all about. The two of them are separate, but together, if they just stay together, it will work beautifully. And there's a hook. John loved hooks. And the hook in this song is when he says that line where he has to jam too many words in the line. All you got to do is call. All you got to do is call. And that's an earworm, and people love it. It's a gotcha moment for the song. So it's a simple song, but if you listen to his voice, full of passion, full of angst, full of anguish, and it really hooks you. So listeners, go back and listen to Anytime at All and give it another chance, because we got to move that baby up from number 145. It's better than that.
Now, Jude, I've got to tell you something before we move on to I'll Cry Instead.
Yeah.
I want to show you something, right? Look at this. Ready? The mail's in. The mail just came in, and watch this. You're the first person to see it. Wait. You'll love this. Hang on. Australian sheet music original. That's the original sheet music for Come Together. You can see the price down there, 40 cents.
Wow.
That came out, what, 1969, yeah?
Yeah, that is amazing. Look at
And
that.
also,
Let's see the inside of it.
let me show you, just so you see. You're the first person to see it.
Wow, that's beautiful. Gosh, that's in great shape, too.
Yeah, and have a look at this, the back of it.
Aw. You got some good deals.
Yeah, look at that.
That's awesome. So awesome.
It's great for framing. That's good to frame this way. I'll just show you.
Yeah.
Right?
That's beautiful. I love it.
Just came in the mail now. You can frame it that way in a frame because it's the original one. But not only that, this one's going to blow your mind. Look at that. Sheet music 4.
Oh, nice. So nice. Wow.
The original.
Framed up above each other. That is gorgeous. Wow.
How great is that for an original Australian sheet music?
Nice. So nice.
Right, I'll just open it up now since you got it, because I said mail just came in. So I had to show you, all right? This is what happens here.
That is so
There's
cool.
the sheet music.
Yeah.
3 pages, sorry. 3 pages.
Those are in great shape. Usually, a lot of times when you order things like that, they
No,
don't come in.
now, we'll get into the song, I'll Cry Instead, and I believe it goes like this. You know, if you break my heart, I'll go, but I'll be back again. That's right.
No, I got every reason on earth to be.
Hey, You know something? You caught me out. So there you go.
Well, you know it now, so sing it. I got every reason.
I got every reason on earth to be mad because I just lost the only girl I had. If I can't find my way, I know someday, and I won't, I'll cry instead.
That is it. That is it. About a year and a half ago, one of my dear friends, Dwayne Hicks, asked me, Jude, if you could pick one song that is the essence of John Lennon, what song would it be? Is it Imagine? Is it In My Life? And I said, nope. The one song that is most John Lennon is I'll Cry Instead. And he's like, what? And I said, yep, it's I'll Cry Instead. It tells you his story. There are two songs in which John tells you who he is. One is I'll Cry Instead, and the other one is Julia. Two songs, that's it. So this one is probably the most biographical song that he ever wrote. And look, EP, it was written about 8 months or 8.5 months before he met Bob Dylan, Plastic. All these people that say, oh, John Lennon became biographical because he met Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan influenced him. Bob Dylan's the one that made him biographical. Bull. He was autobiographical long before he met Bob Dylan. This song was written, recorded, and in the can before he even met Bob Dylan. So what is the song about?
Can I just say something, just Jude, quickly?
Yeah.
About Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
When they met at the hotel, Bob Dylan said to him, hey, listen, man, I really love that song. The one, and they go, which one? And he goes, the one where you sing, I get high, I get high, I get high. He was talking about the song, I Can't Hide, I Can't Hide. He read the lyrics,
that was kind of Beatle changing because, as you know, the implications were that the Beatles were taking marijuana, which they were not at that time, but Dylan interested them in taking marijuana. And as Ivor Davis correctly tells us, at the end of that tour, that was on the 1964 North American tour, the very last night of the tour at the Riverside Idlewild Hotel in New York, they did end up taking marijuana because of that very incident that you're talking about.
That's okay.
So, and look, Dylan's freewheeling had a tremendous impact on the Beatles. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that pre-Dylan, John was writing autobiographical songs, and this is one of them. So in other songs that John writes about his childhood, where his mother, for very complicated reasons, ended up giving him to her sister to raise. In other songs, he's sad. And he says, I'm sorry, I did something to cause this. I'll be a good boy. I apologize. He feels responsible for what happened. As a child, he thought it was his fault. In this song, he's not sad. He's mad. He says, I've got every reason on earth to be mad. You left me, and I'm mad about it. I just lost the only girl I had. And if I could get my way, I'd be so horrible and so vicious and so violent about what happened to me that I'd get myself locked up. But I can't do that. I got to be a Beatle. I got to be the leader Beatle. I got to be the intelligent Beatle. I got to be the author Beatle. So what am I going to do? I'm going to cry instead. I'm just going to have my heart broken, which he did. Now, when I went to Liverpool for the first time in 1993, and I met a lot of the people that John went to high school with at Quarry Bank Grammar. Dave Binion, who was the prefect, the head boy, said to me, John Lennon was a salt. And I don't mean salt of the earth. I mean, he was a salt in an open wound. He would find what bothered you and he would get at you. And John was doing that because of what he's telling you in this song. He can't talk to people that he meets. He gets shy when they scream and they shout and they stare at him. Oh, John, John. He gets shy. He's no good with dealing with people and his heart is broken. He cries instead of being personable like Paul is and fitting in like Paul is and knowing the right thing to say. He doesn't do that. But he's got a solution for the way he feels. He's going to prove to his mother, even though I know that's illogical because she's passed away, but he's going to prove to her anyway from her perch in heaven that he is smart enough, valuable enough, and worthy of her love and that she should have loved him. How is he going to do that? He's going to break hearts all around the world. He's going to get to the toppermost of the poppermost. Girls are going to swoon over him. He's not going to care. He's going to show her that she should have loved him. Until then, he'll cry instead. This is the most honest John Lennon song out there. And he's singing it directly, you know, to the listeners, to his mother. This is what I'm going to do. This song is so mature, Plastic, it probably should have been on Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul is an album that's full of complicated love relationships. It's not boy loves girl, girl loves boy. It's very complicated. And that's probably the LP that this one should have been on. Dick Lester had told John he was going to play this song as the boys run out of the building and run down the fire escape and run into the field and play ball in A Hard Day's Night. But after he heard the lyrics, he said, this is too complicated and sad and complex. And he chose Paul's Can't Buy Me Love instead. And once again, John felt pushed aside and hurt and ignored, just the way he did when his mother left him. This was the stronger of the two songs, because it was remade by Joe Cocker, it was remade by Billy Joel, it was remade by Johnny Rivers. Musicians loved it, but the words were very sad and complicated, and so it did not make it into that happy sing. But great song, very autobiographical, I'll Cry Instead.
Okay, now I just want to tell you something, and you're going to love this. You're going to see something that no one's seen. As I said, the mail came in, watch this. The mail came in for these two, right?
Yep.
The mail came in to a song sheet. I guarantee you have not seen this in your life. It just came in now, I'm not lying to you. There's the plastic cover. Watch this. Australian, never seen before. I guarantee in your life you've not seen this.
Oh my gosh, look at those drawings. Look at John. He looks like, I don't know, a girl. Look at Paul. Is that Paul? He looks like he's going to bite you.
That's Paul there. There's George and there's Ringo. How great is that one? And that was 3 shillings and 6 pence Australian music. How great, how groovy is that?
That is groovy. That's really groovy. Words and music by the late, great Chuck Berry. We love Chuck Berry. There's nothing better than John Lennon doing Chuck Berry. There he is. Love Chuck.
Have you ever seen that?
I have not seen that. You got some cool stuff, man.
Now, I can tell you, that now is one of my treasures. You can see. Very hard to get.
Yeah. You know what? You should do a tour of your collection on one of your shows.
I got a lot of things to do, but let me tell you this now. Let's get into the next track, which is one of my favorites. Things We Said Today is one of my favorites. You say you will love me. If you have to go, you'll be thinking of me. Somehow I'll know. Someday when I'm lonely, wishing you weren't so far away, then we will remember things we said today. What a great, did y'all get that right or what?
You got it. You nailed it. It was spot on. That was spot on. This song, I know we want to be happy on the EP show, but I have to tell you that this song has a very sad memory for me, because when 9/11 occurred, I was living about 35, 40 miles out of New York City in a town called Morrisville, Pennsylvania, Morrisville, Yardley, 2 cities that were combined. And the pilot of the second plane that hit the Twin Towers lived about a block from my house. And so his funeral was held in our little town. And this song was his song that he and his wife had always loved. It was their song. And it was played at the funeral. And when you listen to those words, you say you will love me. If I have to go, you'll be thinking of me. Somehow I will know. I mean, that is just, every time I hear it, I think about that pilot and his wife. And it is such a touching and beautiful song. And it was written by Paul right after the brutal, and I mean brutal, days of making A Hard Day's Night, because they were getting up about 5:30, 6 o'clock. They had to be in hair and makeup in London around 7, because they had to be on the set ready to make the film at 8 a.m. And remember, I told you that John's not getting home until 10 o'clock at night. And then that guy, Tom Mashler, is waiting for him to work on the book. He's not going to bed till 1 o'clock, and he's getting up at 5. And he's doing this over and over and over, not 1 or 2 or 3 days a week, but every single day. They're worn out. And
Ringo, I'm just saying, Ringo went to the club. Ringo went to the clubs and rocked up in the morning and did his scene. That's fantastic, near the river.
I know. And so, but they were young, you know, I mean, that was in their favor. But after it's over with, Ringo and Maureen and Paul and Jane go away on a yacht called the Happy Days out in the Caribbean. And Paul picks up an acoustic guitar and he sits down and writes Things We Said Today. Now, it's about his relationship with Jane, and almost from the beginning of their relationship, Jane Asher, they know things are not going to work out because she is a busy actress. She's gone all over the world doing her performances, and Paul is busy and they rarely get to see her. And he tells her over and over and things like, think for yourself and we can work it out. And I'm looking through you, that if she doesn't stop touring and give him some time and start being an adoring girlfriend, they're going to break up. And he gets more and more violent as the songs go along with, you know, you better think about this, because if you don't think, we're going to end up broken up. She has no intention of quitting her acting career. And so we know that things aren't going to work out. But in this song, he is trying to point out to her how in love they are and how wonderful it could be if they just got to spend time together. You know, he says, me, I'm just a lucky guy. I love to hear you say that love is love. And though we may be blind, love is here to stay, and that's enough. And for this moment, they are happy enough on a yacht, on holiday, after making a film, and they're together. And this is how he wishes that it could always be. When they made the single of A Hard Day's Night and they released the single, this is the song that they place on side B of that single, because now you have A Hard Day's Night, a John song on one side, you have Things We Said Today, a Paul song on the other side, happy song, A Hard Day's Night, sad song, Things We Said Today, and together they make a perfect single. It is a beautiful, beautiful song.
That's beautiful. Let's keep it moving now. When I Get Home,
Okay.
I love it. It's a great John song. When I get home tonight, I'm going to hold it tight. I'm going to love it till the cows go home, because I love him so. So I walk out that door again. Dun, 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 dun. I love it.
Great song, number 143 on those charts. But When I Get Home was not in the top 200 Beatles songs. Look, I love John. I think he's super talented. I love his songs, but When I Get Home is not a great song. They needed another song to fill out the LP, and he wrote this as fast as he could to get it done. The theme is the exact same theme that he sang in Anytime at All. He's just trying to fill space on the LP. And if you got a song that says, I'm going to love you till the cows come home, I mean, come on, John, that's not great writing. But it does tell you a true story about John. I know you had Ivor Davis on your show, and I think you've had Art Schreiber on as well, and maybe Larry Kane. And all of those journalists who toured with the Beatles in 1964 told me that John called Cynthia every single night of the tour. They were in love, they were separated, he longed for her, she for him, and this is the song of what's going to happen when I get home. I'm going to tell you all my stories, I'm going to share things with you, I'm going to love you till the cows come home. But it's not a great song. Ringo's drumming is really, really good. The Beatles play all their standard instruments, and it's just an album filler. But it's fun. You know, what are you going to say? But not
That's
right.
fantastic. Let's move on to the next one, which I really like. You can't do that. And let me tell you this. If you go on the internet, there's a video where they're playing, I think it's to a M&E or some concert that they do to win the trophy. And they sing this song and they miss the chorus.
Yes.
John sings one line, they sing another. It's the first time I've seen footage of them. I think it's 1964 or 65. I'm not sure.
It's 64.
But they sing the song, but they miss. They're meant to go into a lead and they go into the chorus. Paul and George, I think.
Yes,
Yeah, you can't
yeah.
do that. Told you before. Oh, you can't do that. Everybody's green, cause I'm the one who won your love. But if they've seen you talking that way, don't laugh in my face. So please listen to me if you want to stay, man. Isn't that great?
It is a great song. It's a controversial song in 2021. But let me tell you something.
That was the flip side of which song, June?
It is the next to last song on side B. They thought they were going to do this
Yeah,
as
but
the
also as
closer.
the single, I think it's
Yeah,
the flip side to what? A Hard Day's Night?
yes. And you can see why it was popular back in the 60s, and we'll talk about that just in a minute. It isn't popular today, but we'll get to that. But before we get into what it's about, let's talk about the music. You Can't Do That is actually rated 108 in the Beatles top 200. So it's right there in the middle. And it's because it's a great rocker. It's John being very gritty, and the music is amazing. This is the first time, everybody, the first time that John ever gets to play a lead solo on a Beatles record. Ordinarily, George does it. John loved to play lead. He never got a chance to do it. He does it on this song, and it's really, really good. The other first on this song is that George is getting to use his 12-string Rickenbacker for the very first time. And so that's got a unique, full-bodied sound. And listen to George's role. It's excellent on this song. So it was inspired by Wilson Pickett's song In the Midnight Hour, which the boys had heard when they were in the US in February of 1964. They fell in love with Wilson Pickett, and this is John imitating his sound. He wrote it while he was in Miami in February of 64, completely finished it on the plane home. And as soon as they get home, 2 days later, they're in the studio recording You Can't Do That. Okay, so it is a precursor to the song that he's going to do in 1965, Run for Your Life. But it's not as violent as Run for Your Life. And it's also a precursor to his solo song, Jealous Guy. So John is warning his girlfriend that if she doesn't quit flirting around with other guys, he's going to leave her flat. He's going to walk off and he's going to leave her. And he is, again, here he is, Mr. Insecurity, thinking she doesn't love him, she's going to leave him, she's flirting, what he always thinks because of what happened to him when he was a little boy. And he's hinting that he can be pretty violent if she doesn't cut it out. And then by the time 1965 rolls around with Run for Your Life, he says, I'd rather see you dead than to be with another man. So in today's light, these songs are considered inappropriate. But if you will go back to the late 50s and the early 1960s, you're going to see that songs about men being jealous was not considered bad. It was sexy. There's this song called Johnny Get Angry, Johnny Get Mad, give me the biggest lecture I've ever had. I want a brave man. I want a caveman. Johnny, show me that you care, really care for me. So this kind of song in the early 1960s was how you proved to a girl that you loved her. You were jealous. You were going to beat up the guy that flirted with her. This was appropriate in the early 1960s. It isn't PC today. I get it, but you can't lift it out of its era. It's part of its era. So it's a really hard rocker. It was supposed to close side 2, and then George Martin decided he would let the closer have a funny hook to it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But he bumped this as away from the closer. I think this should have closed the LP. It was much better to close it with this hard rocking song, but they didn't. And so you want me to go right into the next one, the closer?
I just want to tell you, with the next song, I'll Be Back, I would have called it I'll Be Back Again. Because the song goes, that's me. I think it's got a better title with I'll Be Back Again.
I
It
agree.
sounds better. And I think in the album, even when you look at the back of the album, that title looks better. I'll be back again now. You know, if you break my heart, I'll go, but I'll be back again. So I would have put the title I'll Be Back Again. Let's get straight into that.
Okay, so the reason that they choose this as the closer, I'll be back, and you're right, it should have been I'll Be Back Again, is partially because of the title. what is it telling the fans as the album plays out in those last grooves? Hang on, girls, don't go anywhere, I'll be back. There's more to come, you know, so it's a hook to let people know that the Beatles are going to be back. It's a really unique song in the Beatles catalog because it's one of the only songs in which all three Beatles are playing acoustic guitars. George, John, Paul, it's completely acoustic. And it is one of the only songs, if not the only Beatles song, that has two bridges. The first bridge is the I love you so, I'm the one who wants you. And then the second bridge is I thought that you would realize that if I ran away from you, that you would love me too. That's the second bridge. This is, again, a John song. All of A Hard Day's Night is very John-centric. Yeah, he writes 3/4 of the songs on the LP. And again, guess what? You can say it. It's autobiographical. It's long before he meets Bob Dylan. He hasn't met him yet. That doesn't happen until the end of August 1964. And he's telling you his life's story. He's saying, you know what? You've hurt me. You left me. You've abandoned me. But I'm still coming back. Just like that little boy that kept loving his mother, no matter what she did, no matter that she left him and didn't come back for years. You still have my heart and I still love you. And this song takes us right back to John being 15 years old in the summer of 1955 when his Uncle George died. He went hysterical. We've talked about this in the past. He started laughing. He couldn't stop laughing. He was losing it. And they don't know what to do. At first, Mimi sends for his cousin that he loves so much. And the cousin comes over and she can't stop him. He's rolling on the bed. He's laughing. He can't stop. Finally, Mimi says, go get Julia. And so they bring Julia over from 1 Blomfield Road and she sits down with John and she speaks to him very calmly. She puts her hands on him and says, son, listen to me. George isn't gone. I'm going to be your new George. I'm not going to be your mother. You've already got a mother. That's Mimi. But I'm going to be your best friend, your pal. And we are going to hang around together and we are going to have a close relationship. And they do. They start hanging out together. She teaches him to play the banjo. She encourages him to start a band. She tells him he has music in his bones. And he starts to trust her. And that's what he's writing about in this song. Because in that moment, this is what he's thinking in his head. You know, if you break my heart, again, because you've already done it when I was a child, if you break my heart, I'll go. But you know me all too well. I'll be back again. Because I told you once before goodbye, you know, when you left me, I said, okay, fine. I don't want anything to do with you. But I came back again. I love you so. I'm the one that wants you, not John Dykins, not your other family. Why can't you see that I'm the one that wants you? Oh, you know, I thought when he was a little boy and she didn't want him, what he used to do was get on the bus with the green seats. He couldn't read numbers yet. He didn't know all of his numbers yet, but he could find the bus with the green seats. And he knew that that bus would take him to his Aunt Mimi and Uncle George's house. He would run away to show his mother that she should be paying attention to him and that she should love him. I thought that you would realize that if I ran away from you, that you would love me too. But I got a big surprise. Yeah, you didn't want me. You didn't love me. And you gave me away and you had other children, but you didn't want me. This song is a heartbreaking song. And why they used it to end the album, I don't know. Should have been a happy, upbeat, you can't do that kind of thing. But this is the one they chose. He's telling her, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to let you back into my heart. But just remember, if you break my heart, even though it wounds me, I'm always going to love you. Always, always, always. It's a beautiful and very sad song. And that is how A Hard Day's Night ends. So, wow, it's a powerful, powerful song, isn't it, Plastic?
Well, I got to tell you, 1964, as I said, I'm, 6 years old. But I still remember the first time I heard A Hard Day's Night and I heard the opening, 12-string chord, the famous chord to that song. There's been no other pop song in my mind at that time that was so different from the way they wrote songs. I mean, what song has, it's been a hard day's night and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log. I can tell you now, no pop song had those kind of lyrics in 1964. And that's what distinguished them against everything else. I mean, how it just infuses in your brain, even now. I know how old I am now, and it still affects me when I hear him say that.
Yeah.
Those two words.
Yep. And you look at, because it's the same theme as Any Time at All. And it's the same thing as When I Get Home. But the way that John composed it, it has the hook, it has that echoing call and answer, it has that heavy opening chord, it has all the elements that make a hit song. And that's why it is the title track and the song that soars over Any Time at All. Same thing, same story, but it's the writing of the music. And look, when we think about Any Time at All being like number 148, whenever it was on the list, let's see what it was. It was way down there, 145. It's a great song. By any other group, it would have been a number one hit. But the Beatles are so powerful and they write so well that it is 145 down the list. That's how good they are.
What's at number one, Jude? What's at number one? Hey, Jude.
A Day in the Life.
Is number one, is it?
Yep. And on Rolling Stone's chart as well. A Day in the Life is number one.
And where's Hey Jude, number two?
Hey Jude is number two. And number three, I'm trying to think what was number three. I think it was In My Life. But it's amazing to go back and look at how they're slotted, both on Rolling Stone as compared to USA Today's list. The one thing they agree on is Day in the Life is number one. And that's good because it's a collaboration, an even collaboration between Paul and John. And that's good to see that one that they worked on together turns out to be.
Jude, I want to tell you, just hold up the current book that you're selling and tell them where they can buy it from.
It is the only one that is still available in physical form. And the others are on every ebook format, not just Kindle or Nook, but every ebook format. This one, I still have physical copies, and they are at johnlennonseries.com, and of course on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com and wherever books are sold. But if you get it on johnlennonseries.com, I can sign it for you, date it, and if you want, write an inscription to you. The only thing that I will warn about that is when these books sell out, they go for insane, crazy, nutso prices. I get none of that, but on the secondary market, this book is selling between $900 and $4,000. So if you get it just signed and dated, which you can do for $25.95, it will be more valuable. So that's what I'd recommend, is just buying it signed and dated. Hang on to it. I am almost sold out of volume 4, and then that book is going to be super duper valuable. So, get your copy today.
Number 5.
Number 5, I'm more than halfway through. The Beatles are on the European tour. They have just played Milan, and they're headed for Genoa, and they're headed for Rome. And we have just had an exciting incident because when they were in Paris, Brian got all excited and realized he could go up to the control booth where he could take a picture of them from above with them singing on the stage at the Palais des Sports. So he runs up the spiral staircase to go up to the control booth and take that photo, doesn't see that there's a gigantic lintel hanging down in the doorway, knocks himself in the head, falls backwards, and almost falls to his death down that spiral staircase. Fortunately, someone catches him just as he goes down that staircase. We might have lost Brian in the summer of 1965, June, and things would have changed forever. It would have been drastically different if someone had reached out and caught him at that moment.
I was going to say something, Jude, with volume 5. As you said, I'll be receiving a copy. So to make things easy, you can send me half the book now and half the book when you finish.
You better wait, because let me tell you, I have a great editing team. My husband and Lena Stagg, who wrote the Recipe Record series, I believe she's been on your show, and Al Sussman, who's the executive editor of Beatles Fan, and Jacob Michael have a great editing team. You don't want it before they get a hold of it, because you'll be like, oh, I don't think she's as good as I thought. Editors are everything. Editors are, they save your behind.
I'm glad you like that joke. Now, before you go, just show me Spaniard in the Works. That's behind you, the book.
Yes, there it is. 1965's John Lennon book, and here is the 1964 John Lennon book. And listen, the fact that a Beatle who was as busy as he was could find time to write. This one he wrote a lot when he was in high school and Liverpool College of Art and everything. But this one is all new, fresh material that he had to write while being a Beatle and going on tour and doing interviews and doing radio shows and doing TV interviews and receiving awards. Amazing. And it is a great, great book. It's dark. It's John. You know, John's going to tell you the story of his life. That's what he's going to do. But still, fantastic. Love it.
Jude, I just want to say it's been a pleasure going by Jude Southerland Kessler's books, because I tell you, they are like encyclopedias on John Lennon, and you can't go past it. And just want to say, we'll be moving on to Help next time, the album Help. I can't wait, Jude. And I say, it's a fantastic show today. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for letting me come into your homes and talk about my favorite topic, John Lennon.
Anytime, Jude. The world loves you.